here, Matt. That's sort of a big picture question. There's been so much talk throughout your time here about the resilience of this team. It continues to come up week after week. It was obviously a big topic on Saturday. My question for you is, when did you first see that? And is that something that you coach? Is that a staple? Can you coach it? I'm just curious how that sort of develops and where you see it.
I think it's a lot of factors. Once it's a staff mentality. I think it's an expectation of guys that hopefully you're seeing as you evaluate in recruiting. It's habits that you establish in the off season, in fall camp, um, and really it's just hopefully what you have, just daily in life. You have a lot of things that don't go your way, and what are you going to do about it, and how are you going to work through it, and all those type of things that can happen life after football. And again, you know challenged our guys at halftime and things like that. And again, it's great to see. You hope you don't get in yourself in those situations as much, but when it does occur, you're pleased to see that battle in them. So,
Did you see it pretty quick? I mean, I know 21's a while ago now, but did you see it
um,
sort of take root pretty quick?
you know, uh, it's never always just like with some of you. It's never as good as you always want it to be in certain areas, especially when you're not getting the result. But I think guys understand what the expectation is about of them, and how we get there sometimes in the off season of where we're doing. And again, I credit the staff and Matt Gildersleeve and his people in the off season about expectations and what we do there. So, but I think it's been consistent. I think we go back to many of our conversations about the 21 season and beyond. I think the players that were here and continue to be here or pass that along as they're moving through understand that our staff will be consistent about those expectations and everything that they do while they're here. And once they see that, you're either going to buy in or it's probably not going to work, and not working for some is you're not going to play. And for others, you may be that you're not going to last here. And that's not ever what we want, but that's the process that you have to go through.
When you have a young guy make a play, whether it's Keaton a couple weeks ago, Austin Alexander, Dak Brinkley, how often do you see sort of that rise in confidence and see the level of play rise after they have, sort of a positive result in a big situation like that?
I think a lot of times, you see it. A guy kind of sees it in practice or something happens, but when he does it under the light, so to speak, another sense of confidence that, hey, I can do this, and I can do it on a regular basis. And again, those everything we just almost talked about, that daily and weekly preparation. If I just stay to it, and I play fast and I play confidently, things will happen if I use my proper technique and do the things that I've been coached to do. Those things can happen, and you can see that with some of the guys, and hopefully we can continue to get that from some of those younger players.
Seems like Justice has really started to kind of stack positive games as well.
Yeah, he plays hard, does a lot. Coach McDonald and Coach O are on, consistent. Well, continually being consistent on what he's doing, but very workmanlike and trying to build more steady, consistent days with him. And he had, again, not being the tallest guy, there's got to be other things that he has to do extremely well, and he's been able to put some good things together. And as always, we're sure glad he's here.
And then what have you seen from Texas Tech on tape so far?
Extremely explosive football team, an excellent team with lots of talent and depth. And um, I don't know if I've ever seen a FBS football game that went to 8-minute quarters as they did against Arkansas Pine Bluff. So that just shows, what they have. They, most of their games have been decided early, and again, a lot of weapons. Um, and I get the thing. I think they're top three in every statistic that imaginable right now in our conference, and in the top 10 nationally. A lot of things that just says Coach McGuire's got himself a really good football team. It'll be a heck of a challenge on homecoming night there. But our guys are going to embrace that challenge, and great opportunity for us to go down there and play well.
Defensively, there's a good group of guys who are kind of in their first season of contributing. Austin, John, maybe even Jalen Todd or Taylor Davis. How have you seen those players kind of grow throughout the course of the season so far?
Yeah, kind of same thing. When you get more lives, because there's only so much live that we do. We've talked about it in here many times. So, when you get that game day live feeling of things, it's for some of it, it is on the job training. I mean, you've got to get those conference snaps, those quality opponent snaps that you have in non-conference, all those things, and you learn. But to see them learn and grow and become more confident, and that's why we talk so much to our guys about whether it be weight room or diet and all the other things that help them kind of get through a long season like this. Why it's so imperative for them to embrace those things. But all those guys are starting to show all the reasons why we're excited to have them in this program.
Finn Lappin ranks really highly in a lot of the punting stats. Just how much of a weapon has he been, and how pleased we been with him?
He's been excellent. He missed the one game, but again, very consistent for what he's doing. He feels more and more comfortable here all the time, and again, he's been a valuable weapon. And obviously, as we say, we don't want to use him very much, but he's been productive when he's had to be out there.
Halfway through the season now, just holistically, where do you feel like you guys are at, both offensively and defensively?
Not as consistent as I'd like us to be. Again, I think we're better than we show, but again, if you are what you put on tape right now, so and that's the daily challenge to this group. I think they know that and embrace it. They've seen the good and the not so good, and some of the things that have happened and along the way that result in that, and we continue to coach and challenge our leadership and our guys to keep working on those things, and we need a great week of preparation to go down there with a chance to win.
Lance, obviously, their quarterback like Jalen has had a pretty special season so far. What have you seen on tape from him, and is there any similarities between the two?
Yeah, again, like most quarterbacks in this league, I said this to somebody I don't know if I'm answering the question, so you can bring me back to it, but is when Jalen makes someone miss, it's because Jalen's really talented and can extend plays, is really talented. But when we're playing against somebody and their quarterback who's really talented and does it, we don't tackle very well and stuff, right? So, I mean, that's what you see when you have a superb quarterback in this league. He extends plays, he can do things with his legs. But what you can see with experienced quarterbacks, and he's one that, give him credit for who he is, not just because he's a coach's son, but he's an excellent quarterback that's gotten better along the way, battled through his share of injuries. But what happens is with more snaps, just like the question about some of our younger players at the quarterback position especially, you start seeing everything, and there's only so many stunts and blitzes and coverages you're going to see. And then you just get better at recognizing things and what to do with the ball, and the game really slows down for them. And their offense is geared in such a way that they get that ball snapped, and many times they catch you in things or in base things that make it difficult for you. But he's done an excellent job and is playing as good as anybody in this conference right now.
I think Leipold has continued to be perfect from field goal range this year, and obviously injury withstanding. How confident do you feel, when you're out there 50, 45, like how, you go out there and feel like, oh, you can make that play?
Well, I didn't have all the distances, and I still don't, but the second field goal was a 40-yarder? Was that 41? So that was a 24-yard line. Okay, but he gave me 35 as his distance where the ball needed to be. So obviously he was about 9 yards off or whatever, 11 yards off. Sorry, of where it's at. But for being very limited, I think he tired in the game because he didn't kick as much, and he's feeling better right now. Hopefully, we'll get a full week out of him that he's back to where he was. But depending on the time of the game and time on the clock and things like that, we can push him past 50. And the great thing about him is you know, he's very mature and even keeled. That's not going to be, you know, some guys, they'll they know their range, and when you ask and you're kind of ask them to stretch it, they kind of give you a little look, and but he doesn't. He'll be like, yeah, you know, if I know if I hit this thing right, I'm gonna make it. And I really admire what he's. And again, his maturity and confidence and consistency have been a great addition to that specialty, you know, the specialist room, but to this program as well.
There may not be like a straightforward answer to this, but I was wondering if looking back on Saturday's game, if you've got a sense of maybe why the defense started out slowly and how you can prevent that going forward.
You know, again, you know, we still had way too many missed tackles, but there's some, you know, I went up to DK at halftime. And I said, "What do we got to do?" And he goes, "We got to execute better. What we're running." He goes, "Says we're losing gaps, we're losing leverage, not setting edges, all the things we said we do them better." And then all of a sudden we started doing them better. It wasn't like we went in and put in a new defense at halftime. And so the answer is we got to execute and as we say, trust our training a little bit better early in the game and communicate better. All the little things there, but if we can't start this Saturday like that against a team like this for sure, and barely finding a way to beat a good UCF team on winning's tough enough. Winning on the road's even harder. Winning against top 10 team will be even more difficult. So we've got to be able to start better. So all those things are there that I think it goes into some of the things that we kind of talked about with younger players. Henry is, you know, again, being confident enough to trust what's going to happen, doing your job with confidence and understanding. But I know they're willing, and I know, again, we've shown flashes of being a solid defense, and then there's times where it has been concerning, and that's the same thing on the other side of the ball. There's times where we're pretty explosive, and there's times that we haven't been as good as we needed to be.
And then I wanted to ask, what kind of challenge will Texas Tech's defensive line present in particular?
Well, it'll be I think they're in top in like tackles for losses, sacks, and everything. So again, explosive, good front, very athletic. Bailey kid that from Stanford has been everything they wanted him to be when they got him out of the portal late. So very disruptive, and again, it's as good as front as we've seen. You know, I know we played a good Missouri team and that, but this is an excellent defense all across the board, and it'll be a big challenge. And again, trying to stay normal down in distance and being balanced is very key for us in what we're doing.
Lance, a win like that builds confidence. I'm curious if it's different when you do it on the road coming from behind, and if that plane trip coming back is just different, maybe a style of confidence with it.
You know, it's a different feeling. Against obviously body language and morale's a lot better, obviously, and it sometimes can build you some extra confidence as much as coming from behind at home would be. Thank goodness that we did pull that out, because getting back at 5 a.m. and bouncing back with another road game and kind of that, it's always challenging, but it'd been even probably more challenging. You know, walking in the room today with them, but it's good. You know, everyone is still who's not on the trip is part of the wins. That's the other part I always feel when you do win a road game. You don't want to neglect the ones who didn't make the trip as well. So we try to do that. But you know, a night game on the road that's a nice atmosphere they have there in a game day atmosphere at UCF. It's, you know, credit to them, and for us to be able to pull that out, I'm really proud.
You got a package that Isaiah Marshall's coming in on. Has he shown something in practice that you like?
Yeah, you know, we used him and Cole, and again, you know, that's something that we'll continue to build upon. I'd imagine that's part of that is take some of the quarterback runs off Jalen, which is probably pretty obvious to everyone, but again, you know, he has done a nice job. He hasn't hesitated, and he's made productive plays for us. You know, the last third down play inside the 5 that we ran, as we're trying to run the clock out was the exact same play that we ran with Isaiah, and unfortunately Kobe missed the kick out. Otherwise, we got a first down. So it's a play that's in. It's just sometimes we're going to use one of the other guys.
And I think it's been well documented that, Texas Tech revenue share and NIL was probably top of the conference. And you talk about how talented they are. How much does that factor in?
Well, again, they've utilized their resources immensely. They've made a commitment. They're not shy about talking about it and what they've been able to do. And you can look at the two deep, and you can see that they've gone everywhere and anywhere to get players, and that's a credit to them. And um, it's the gaps that are still there in this this new model we're working under, and obviously I think it's probably well known that they're well top of the league probably, and then there's the rest of us.
You mentioned the time you guys got back. How does a late night like that impact a Sunday, Monday, and then having to travel far on the road on the back end? How does that change the dynamic?
Well, we reduced some of the stuff we did today, tried to get them back a little bit. We didn't practice quite as long or modified some of the things that we normally do. Staff-wise, again, the one thing you can't do on flights and stuff, obviously, you get the film watched on the way home and get some of that. Obviously, guys didn't come in quite as early, but as I told our staff, you're not as productive if you're not you have some type of rest. And again, if you're working on fumes all week, you won't be at your best coaching, you won't be at your best preparing. So you worry about it, but at least staff-wise, if we start there first, there's some things that with a night game, you have a chance, to work a little bit ahead, some of our analysts and things, and get some work done that would normally be done on Sunday. You can get some other ways to chip in. Hopefully guys got decent amount of sleep. Playing 7:30 versus even 6:30. We started our day a little bit later, but most of us are in our routines. But you hope not. It's tough. I think we talked about this last year about kickoff times, time zone changes, how far, when. But we're all up against it. So in this one, we played a majority of night games this year. We're in the same time zone, so we got to be ready, and I'm sure they'll be excited for kickoff.
With Deshaun and Daniel, are those two guys that injury-wise you feel like they'll be able to come back this year?
Daniel, we're hoping. Since I probably got to let you know sometime or other, Deshaun had surgery last week and he'll be lost for the year. You probably knew that already, but you just wanted to ask me. But Deshaun will be unfortunately, his season has ended. A quality young man. Feel for him, everything that he sacrificed to get himself back to play, and but Daniel will be, we'll wait and see when he'll be able to return, but we anticipate it.
You talked about different aspects of the Tech program. I'm just wondering if 5-0 and 2-0 in the Big 12 is where you thought Tech would be when you faced them this season.
Yeah, probably. I don't know if I went into the prediction area of every one of where it's at. Obviously, they won a big game out in Salt Lake City, but probably through everything. It's not. I don't know if I had a preconceived thought, but it's not surprising at all that that's where they're at, and again, based on what everyone thought their roster and expectations would be. So.
All right. Thanks, everyone.